According to Eric Lee, professor of law at Dankook University in Korea, on October 6, 2006, North Korea detonated their first nuclear warhead over the Pacific Ocean. This was 50 years after they started research on this nuclear program, which seems like a long time, but the reason is that they had no research backing up. I'm going to get into that later. The reason you guys should listen to me is because when people talk about North Korea, they usually think, oh, North Korea, they think at the interview, they think it's just a big joke. But in all actuality, they are a threat that is building up and could become a huge threat in the future. The three issues I'm going to be talking to you about are the history of the North Korean nuclear programs, the capabilities and the reason behind these North Korean nuclear programs, and then the UN's capabilities and sanctions being set up to stop any incoming threats that North Korea is putting out. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the history of North Korea and how it started. According to Kelsey Davenport, director of the Non-Proliferation Agency, who wrote about the chronological system events that happened in North Korean life, in October 1985, North Korea finally left a non-proliferation treaty, which is a treaty that was set up to watch over any foreign agencies that could be making, trading, or distributing these nuclear warheads. This angered the International Atomic Energy Agency, which was watching North Korea because they were making nuclear power for their country. And they're like, well, if they left the NPT, who's watching over them to make sure they don't make any weapons? Then in 1994, North Korea finally left the IAEA, meaning that nobody was watching over their nuclear power programs. So this kind of like angered the UN because who was watching over them? Nobody was making sure they weren't making these nuclear warheads. Then in 2005, North Korea was like, guess what, guys? We got nuclear warheads. And this scared the UN. They're like, well, they have these warheads, like what's going to happen? But they have no use of, they can't use these warheads. They don't have any like ballistics or anything like that. Until in 2006, where they tested their first short-range ballistic missiles, and 4 of them were a success, and 2 of them, of course, failed, and that's why everybody made fun of them. So now that I've talked to you about the history of these North Korean programs, I'm going to be talking to you about the capabilities of these programs and why they're doing it. So in 2013, they tested their 3rd underground nuclear warhead test, which caused earthquakes all throughout North Korea. And this made the UN like, oh, what's going on? Like, why is these earthquakes happening? So they went in and investigated. They found out they were launching these nuclear warheads underground, which pissed them off. I'm going to get to what they did later. Then in April 2016, North Korea tested their first submarine-launched missile ballistic, which came off as a success, and which now means that North Korea has capabilities of bombing any country they put a submarine near. So, when asked why North Korea is doing this, why they want to have these nuclear weapons, they said, quote, Kim Jong-un said, I want to end the nuclear threat that they have between North Korea and the United States. Which makes no sense. Now that I talked to you about what the capabilities and the reasons behind these North Korean programs, I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking to you about the UN sanctions being set up to guard these threats. After the underground test in North Korea that caused all these earthquakes, the UN set up the Resolution 2090, which stated by the UN at UN.org in March 2013, was a financial going against that they were no longer able to fund or put any resources into these tests and to make sure that they were not making any more weapons. But after the submarine launch in 2016, the UN set up another sanction. They reinstated the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and focused fully on North Korean policies, making sure that they can no longer trade or have these nuclear weapons, and if they do have them, they have to keep them inside the Nodong area, which is where their country is located. So, I've discussed with you about the history of these North Korean programs. I've discussed to you about the capabilities and the reasons behind these programs, and I also talked to you about what the UN is doing to set up these programs. I understand you guys are thinking like, well, it took them 50 years to make these nuclear warheads. Why did it take so long? Why, there's no really big threat of them. But since they did just test their nuclear warheads on submarines, that means it could potentially lead to a nuclear war between the US and North Korea, because North Korea might feel threatened at any time, which could cause us to eventually become drafted by the UN, the United States, if they implement the drafting. Thank you for listening to my talk.